AITA for informing my children that my wife will be getting the inheritance. Story 1. I have 3 kids. They are all adults with their own lives. My late wife, their mother passed while they were high school college years. Around 5 years later, I started to date my now wife, Kelly. They have never liked Kelly, and they never gave her a chance. They were not happy I was dating and even more unhappy when I was getting married. I have been married to her for about 7 years now. She really hasn't done anything to make them dislike her so much. I bought the house when I was married to my late wife. When she passed, I continued to pay the mortgage. Kelly moved in and sold her old place and basically paid off the rest of the home. We split the other bill now. Anyways, both of our wills give basically everything to each other. I have some sentimental stuff that will go to the kids. The big stuff will go to her, and the same for me if she passes. I was at dinner and the kids asked about my will. I informed them of the plan and they were really upset. This started an argument that the childhood home goes to my wife. They think I am a huge jerk and believe it should go to them. One made a comment about kicking her out when they got the home, which solutions my stance. They think I am a huge jerk, and I think it's pretty obvious I would leave my wife the house that she helped pay for to her. They already got their mother's money. It was used to pay for their colleges years ago. First comment. Anything of sentimental value such as family pictures, mom's jewelry, etc. should be split up and given to the kids. That could and likely should be done before dad passes away to help avoid any conflict or questions in regards to that stuff. Beyond that, there's zero obligation, legal or moral, for a parent to leave anything such as the house or money to their kids after they pass. If Kelly wasn't in the picture, dad had remained a widower, and he made his will out to have everything go to charity. He can do that, and the kids should be respectful of that. Same goes for leaving house money to Kelly. On top of that, Kelly paid off the remaining mortgage on the house after she sold her house, so she has a monetary interest in the house. The kids have zero monetary interest in the house. With 3 kids, they're not going to be moving into that house. If they do, it would likely only be one of them, and the other 2 would have to sell their interest in the house to the one that would be living there. They would likely either rent it out and split the rental income, or sell it and split the money from the sale of the house. When it comes right down to it, it's all about the money. Sounds to me like the kids are just mad that daddy remarried, and are entitled Jess who are expecting to cash in upon daddy's death and give Kelly the boot after he passes away. Maybe the kids should be thinking about going to therapy and working out their issues over mom's death, instead of worrying about what they'll be inheriting, especially if Kelly has never done anything to make them mad, as dad says. Second comment. There are other options you're not thinking of for your children. If your current wife contributed to paying off the mortgage on the home you had with your first wife, then you can assign percent ownership in the home. A legal document can call out the percent ownership. You then set up a trust for your percent ownership, with the beneficiaries being your children. You include a clause that they cannot kick out or force your current wife to pay them out on the equity if you should die first. When she passes, her beneficiaries get her percent ownership, and your kids get their percent ownership split when the home is sold. Setting up a trust prevents probate court for your children. Here is an example with very easy, round numbers. Let's say you bought the home for $200,000. By the time your current wife paid off the mortgage, you had already paid $130,000 of the principal, meaning your current wife paid $70,000 of the remaining principal. Your percent ownership in the equity is 65% and your wife's percent ownership is 35%. This is what my fiance and I did with my home, which I received in my divorce by buying my ex-husband out on the equity. My fiance made a principal-only payment towards the mortgage and received ownership stake in the home. Life insurance policy with your children named as the beneficiary. I don't know your age or health to be able to qualify for a term, whole life, or guaranteed rate life insurance plan, but it's an option. Brokerage, savings, 401k, IRA, Roth IRA accounts can be another way to leave money for your children. There are options. It's just whether you want to make your adult children a priority, or at the very minimum, equal to your current wife. Story 2. AITA for telling my birth siblings I owe them no apology or expressions of regret for being adopted while they were kept. I, 29M, was adopted out of foster care at the age of 4. I was first placed in foster care as an 11-week-old. My birth parents willingly surrendered me to the state, got me back, and then lost me to CPS within a few weeks of being returned to them. Their extended families were asked if they would like to raise me, and everyone on both sides who was contacted, and the list was extensive, said no. So I was placed back into foster care, and after 2 weeks of a temporary placement, I found my parents. I was 11 months old at the time. My parents were the best parents anyone could ask for. I have 3 siblings from my parents. 2 were their bio kids, and 1 was also a kid they adopted from foster care. My family is very close today, and it includes a very, very large extended family where my sister and I, adopted from foster care, were treated as their own, and no different than the blood grandkids. It was a very happy life. My birth parents went on to have 3 additional children who are now 22, 20 and 19. My birth siblings sought me out 2 years ago on social media and told me they wanted us to be a family. I expressed at the time that I had zero interest in this. A few months after this, I got another DM from them, but this time with a Word document attached, and it contained this very heartfelt explanation of how they had always been aware I existed, and how their childhood had not been the best, but they valued each other, and how they longed for me to be a part of their lives, and how they felt we were robbed of growing up together. I did not respond to this right away because it did read as something from the heart, but I did not agree with them and did not feel robbed. So I didn't want to be a jerk. I told them I needed some time, and when I did respond, I told them I had a very happy life and a wonderful family, and I was sorry to not share their sentiments. They asked if we could meet one time, and I agreed, and it happened a couple of weeks ago. They were upset that my siblings were nearby for moral support, and they were upset that I did not show up ready to hug and embrace them. They asked me how I could be happy being adopted and raised in another family when I had real blood siblings, etc. They asked me how I could express joy because of my adoption, knowing this. I explained again that my life was happy and I would not trade my family for the world, especially given their parents' treatment of me. They told me I should want them and apologize for making it seem like I don't. I told them I owe them no apology or expression of regret for being adopted while they were kept. Of course, this was not what they wanted to hear, and I left because they clearly wanted to argue after that. My siblings, parents, as well as my wife were a wonderful support to me after this. But some fellow adoptee friends said I was too harsh, and a few said most of us adoptees would love to have such easy access to our birth families, and I was rude to mine and threw them away. AITA? First comment. NTA. Those people came wanting something from you that you cannot give. You cannot take over as the eldest of their sibling group and be a surrogate parent to undo the lives they lived with their parents. There will never be an end to what they want from you. Your success would mean you can afford to help them all out, etc. But you now have your own wide, happy family that you grew up with in addition to your own little nuclear family you started. Those are your priorities. Your fellow adoptee friends are projecting their problems onto you. It's weird that they are being so unsupportive. You didn't throw anyone away. You were taken from that family group to save your life, not because you were an orphan. You have no need to be dragged back there. Your choices are yours and should be respected. Cheers, mate. Second comment. That's honestly so much worse. At least if they gave up their own parental rights, it would have been recognizing their inability to raise you. Instead, they put their infant child in such severely dangerous conditions that their rights were terminated. You don't owe them anything. However, if you want to treat them with grace, consider those same dangerous, bad parents went on to have 3 more kids that they couldn't take care of. Somehow, they managed to keep those kids, but considering the biosibs stated that their childhood wasn't the best, I'm willing to bet that those kids also grew up in unsafe living conditions. They're traumatized, trying to find something that could make the pain better. The idea of their sibling out there probably became like a beacon of hope to get through the hard times. To be rejected by that is probably reinforcing what they already feel, which is that they are unworthy of being loved. It's not really fair to expect a real human person to behave like a beacon of hope. You are your own person, not someone who exists only to make them feel better. And of course, none of what I wrote above means that you should or need to be in contact with them. You definitely do not owe them any kind of relationship, and them lashing out at you was not okay. Ideally, they will back off and seek therapy to process their childhood.